You said, "Take me somewhere no one knows my name," and I promise to make that place feel like home inside my arms. I'll steal you away, not to cage you, but to free the parts of you the world never deserved to touch. You wanted danger wrapped in tenderness, and I became both, your thrill and your sanctuary in the same heartbeat. You handed me your chaos and said, "Handle with care," and I did, trembling, obsessed, and grateful to be trusted. I'm not here to own you. I'm here to awaken the side of you that only exists when you whisper my name. Every second I plan with you feels criminally divine, like we're robbing time of its patience just to feel alive. You said, "Don't ask permission, just come find me." And every mile between us turned into a promise. I'll take you where silence tastes like sin, and your heartbeat writes the only law we obey. You gave me a look that said, "Try me," and I've been planning our escape ever since. You don't know it yet, but every word I speak tonight will be a rope pulling you closer. Willingly, breathlessly, I'll abduct your fears first, one by one, until only your wildness remains, untamed, begging to be adored. You invited me to be dangerous with you, and now we're rewriting safety into something that burns beautifully. My plan isn't to steal you, it's to make you realize you were meant to be stolen from the start. I'll carry you through shadows until the dark itself envies how safe you look in my arms. You said you craved intensity, so I built a world where even silence screams your name. I'll abduct the part of you that doubts love and return it healed, trembling and unwilling to let go. Every plan I make begins and ends with your voice. My perfect crime is wanting you too much. You dared me to find you, so I did, and every step closer felt like destiny pulling its strings. I'll take you away from noise, from fear, from anyone who ever made you shrink. You'll expand again in my hands. You asked what obsession feels like. It's this: plotting ways to keep you safe in a world that keeps trying to break you. I don't want your body without your trust. I want your surrender because you decided I was worthy of it. You once whispered that you wanted to disappear. I just promised to disappear with you, not without. My plan is simple: steal your sadness, ransom it for laughter, and never return the version of you that was unloved. You let me close enough to see your scars, and I swore I'd guard them like stolen treasure. You didn't need saving. You needed someone bold enough to hold your fire without flinching. I'll abduct every lie you've believed about yourself until all that's left is the truth, radiant and unstoppable. You're not my prisoner, you're my co-conspirator in the most beautiful kind of madness. Every breath between us is a secret exchange, my confession for your surrender, both given freely. You said, "Promise me danger," and I did. But I also promised safety disguised as sin. I'll take you to that place you dream about when you're tired of pretending you're fine. You're the only person I could kidnap with words and still have them begging for more. Every plan I've made involves your laughter echoing off walls built from trust and wildfire. You taught me that abduction can mean freedom when the only thing I steal is your breath with love. You don't even realize it. You've been abducting my sanity slowly every time you look at me like that. I'll take you away from everything dull and give you nights that make time jealous. You said you wanted a thrill. I became the storm that knocks politely before flooding your soul. I'll kidnap your insecurities and bury them somewhere you'll never find again. You let me take control because you know I'd never take what you didn't want to give. I'm not here to own you. I'm here to remind you what it feels like to be completely seen. You invited me to your darkness, and I came armed with patience, not chains. I'll steal every tear you've ever cried and trade them for nights that taste like redemption. You once said you wanted to feel chosen, so I planned a world where you're the only option. You can run if you want, but you know I'll need only chase you to remind you how wanted you are. I'm not capturing your body. I'm capturing the wild in your soul and setting it free in my arms. You said, "Don't hold back," and I haven't stopped plotting ways to make you tremble with honesty. I'll abduct your silence, kiss it awake, and teach it to sing your truth. You never needed rescuing. You needed someone who saw your danger and said, "Let's make it ours." You'll love every second because nothing here is taken. It's all offered, surrendered, cherished. You once said you feared losing control. I promised to hold that fear until you could love it too. You let me be your thief, but only because I vowed to steal nothing you wouldn't give. You handed me the map to your heart and smiled. Tonight I'm the willing thief, and you invited every stolen kiss. You said, "Take me," not because I forced you, but because you wanted to disappear into the way I worship your silence. I've planned an escape for us both. No alarms, only the sound of your laughter as you let me steal the night. You locked the door behind us and winked. Consent wrapped around us like velvet, and the world stopped asking questions. I promised to kidnap your ordinary life and swap it for nights that burn long after dawn, with your name on every sunrise. You gave me permission to be reckless with you, and I'll spend a lifetime learning how to make that recklessness tender. Tonight is our conspiracy. I'll carry you away from the quiet ache, and you'll offer me everything with trembling, voluntary hands. I don't take without asking. You volunteered yourself like a secret, and I accepted like a benediction. We rehearsed this surrender in whispers. You said yes between breaths and made the word a covenant. I planned to steal you into a private universe where consent is the language and our hearts are the only witnesses. You let me lead, knowing you could leave at any heartbeat, and that choice makes every second more savage and sacred. You offered the map to your ribs. I traced the lines with devotion and vowed to return the parts I broke into light. We arranged the vanishing act together. You close your eyes, I take your hand, and the world becomes our collapsible stage. I promised not to break you. You promised not to resist me when softness became our only weapon. I'll carry you away from ordinary daydreams into something louder, something we wrote together in fevered consent. You handed me the key to your wildest nights. I turned it slowly, careful with the fragile treasure of your trust. My plan is not to take you by force, but to steal your breath with the way I remember every small want of yours. Tonight, I abduct your loneliness. You agreed in a look, and together we ransom ourselves with fragile laughter. You asked for an escape, and I drew the map with my hands. Your consent made every plotted route holy. I'm not the criminal in this story. I'm the accomplice to our mutual disappearing, and you are there, smiling at the plan. You said, "Kidnap me if you must," and I realized consent can be a dare and a prayer all at once. We traded safety for the delicious unknown. You stepped forward willingly, and I promised to carry you gently over the edge. I'll wrap you in promises like rope, promises you bound yourself with, laughing at the irony of being captured by love. The plot is mine, the surrender is yours, and the consequence is us, trembling and grateful under the same stolen moon. You handed me the role of captor, but kept the script. You decide when the scene ends, and my heart obeys. I planned a heist for your heart, and you handed me the blueprint. Together we looted each other's fears for keepsakes. Consent cracked between us like lightning, and in that flash we both understood how willingly we would burn. I'll take you to the place where rules dissolve, but only because you agreed to rewrite them with me in ink and breath. You invited me to kidnap your routine, your quiet, your small, predictable edges, and together we detonated them into wonder. I don't want to scare you. I want to make you gasp with wanting, and you choose to gasp on my shoulder. I traced a plan in the dark, an escape route, a hidden room, your hands in mine. Consent, the only currency we used. You said yes softly, like a secret, and suddenly the idea of stealing you felt like sacrament instead of sin. I'll sweep you up from the mundane and place you on a throne of stolen moments, all given by you, all cherished by me. This isn't force, it's a mutual vanishing, a pact we make when ordinary life becomes too small for both of us. You agreed to be taken, not because you had to, but because you wanted to feel undone in the safest arms. I plan to kidnap your doubts and leave behind only the fierce proof that you asked for this, with trembling approval. We practiced consent like a prayer, clear, repeated, wholehearted, and then we performed our small, dangerous miracle. You offered yourself like contraband, and I accepted like contrition. We both confessed to wanting to disappear together. I won't steal your agency, I'll cradle it. You signed up for the ride, and your signature shines in the dark between us. Our plan was written in the margins of polite life. You underlined the word yes, and I read it like gospel. You asked me to kidnap your sorrow. I obliged, carrying it like a fragile box and returning it as a new constellation. I'll steal your breath only because you lent it freely, and we will barter it back for laughter and trembling kisses. You invited me to be your captor, and in that invitation I found my home, permission as fierce as any vow.